Section 35AD. Yes, these are expenditures in relation to specified business. What are they? These are expenditures in relation to specified business. Now, what are specified business? There is a complete list of 14 items actually, which type of businesses are called as specified. Now, why government introduced this concept of specified business, I'll tell fast and then get into the topic. First thing, actually government needs to encourage certain areas of businesses, like petroleum pipelines are required from Russia to India, from different countries to India, so that petroleum can be imported very fast, right? There are agricultural produce which should be kept in cold storage. So these type of businesses people may be ignorant, but if government categorize them to be very special, specific, and gives lot of benefits to such businessmen, then people will get into these businesses. That's why, like, there are so many government benefits. Income tax also gives certain benefits to these specified businesses under section 35 AD. What are they? 14 items are there. Let me quickly just tell you the names. Just try to remember with me all that names. So just like as a school kid, you have to shout it out loud to remember this. That would be the best practice. Hey, cold chain facility. What is it? First one, cold chain facility, like refrigeration of agricultural produce, we do through that. Second is basically warehouse for storage of agricultural produce. Right here, when I talk about agricultural produce, it includes fisheries, meat also. Okay. Third one, cross country pipelines for natural gas, petroleum, crude oil, all that. So what I said, cold chain facility, warehouse for agriculture produce, cross country pipelines for petroleum, natural gas and crude oil, I said, right? Then we have to remember that hospital with 100 beds or more. We have to remember hospital with 100 beds or more. We have to remember that hotel with 2-star or more accommodation. Hotel with 2-star or more. The star ratings are given by government. Don't worry about it. 2-star हम खुद लगा लेना क्या sir? नहीं. Government will give. Okay. Now we have to remember that there is something called as slum redevelopment. So if somebody has taken slum redevelopment project, like Mumbai, there are a lot of slums. If Adani gets the contract to develop that slum redevelopment contract, okay, or affordable housing project, right? You have to remember, अरे 14 है यार, easy नहीं है याद रखना. Cold chain facility, warehousing for agriculture produce, then I said cross country pipeline for petroleum, natural gas, right, crude oil. Then I said hotel with 2-star or more accommodation, hospital with 100 beds or more. Then I said slum redevelopment. Then I said affordable housing projects, right? Then supply of fertilizers is there. Honey beekeeping is there. What I said? Supply of fertilizers, honey beekeeping related business is there. Bee wax related businesses. Inland container depot, right? Freight stations are there. Such businesses can also be there. Then you have to remember that warehouse for storage of sugar, right? Are you able to connect? Then there are some businesses like semiconductor. Now this is very heavy word. Please try to remember with me. Semiconductor, wafer fabrication manufacturing unit. अरे क्या word है नहीं? Semiconductor, wafer fabrication manufacturing unit, right? Now you know semiconductor chips, whatever gadgets we are using, everything is connected through chips. We have to remember that they are semiconductors, and it is the booming industry in India as of now. Then we have to remember that infrastructure development projects, right? This way you have to remember all the 14 so that you can actually remember the things. Again I am repeating for you. Cold chain facility, then agriculture storage, warehouse for storage of agriculture produce. Then we have to remember cross country pipelines for storage, for transportation of, yes, petroleum, natural gas, crude oil. Then we have to remember hotel with 2-star or more accommodation, hospital with 100 beds or more. Then I said that fertilizers, honey beekeeping, I said slum redevelopment, I said affordable housing projects, I said inland container depots, I said agriculture, okay, store warehousing for storage of sugar, I said, right, infrastructure development, I said. I also said semiconductor wafer fabrication manufacturing unit, I said. Then there is something called as for transportation of iron ore, there is something called as, I have to remember that word, I also forget, slurry pipelines, yes, this is the right word, slurry pipelines for transportation of iron ore. Iron ore is thick, right? For transportation of that, some slurry pipelines, very strong pipelines are there. That is the 14th one. We have to remember all these 14 names because these are called as specified businesses. These are called as what? Specified businesses. Now, for petroleum related part, the rules are slight different, and for all others, the rules are slight different. For petroleum, it should be an Indian company or consortium of Indian companies like Reliance Petroleum, Bharat Petroleum, Indian Oil Petroleum, right? This way you have to remember. For any other business, anybody can be. It can be Indian company, foreign company, anybody can do. For petroleum part, 1st April 2007 is the date when this section, this application has come. This benefit, this deduction has come. For others, respective dates are there which you can see on the screens. Now, for petroleum, government will lay down certain rules that you have to create this much size of pipeline compulsorily. You have to collaborate with other companies whenever required. You should allow the supply of crude oil for other organizations. So, a lot of rules are there which Ministry of Petroleum, right, Petroleum Board will impose, and that has to be followed by these petroleum companies like I said Reliance Petroleum, right? Now, for other businesses, no such strict restrictions are there. Okay. Now, when you want to get the benefit under 35 AD, you have to start a new business. You cannot say that it was Falana Petroleum, now it is Dikana Petroleum, we just changed the name and want to claim deduction. No, sir, we amalgamated. No, you cannot get deduction. Sir, succession. No, you cannot get deduction. It should be entirely a new business for claiming the deduction. Are you clear with what I said? Yes or no? Yes. Now, plant and machinery. New plant and machinery is required. Totally new chak plant and machinery you should introduce into the business. Then only you will get the deduction. Right? Still, if suppose you are importing certain assets from foreign country, that country, whatever assets you brought, on that no depreciation under income tax was claimed earlier, right? And you are the person who brought it and you are using for the first time in India. If these three conditions are satisfied, even though it is second hand, even though it is already put to use in the foreign country and now we are putting to use in India, still you can claim the deduction, not an issue. Come to the next thing. Understand this properly. That suppose you have capital expenditure of suppose 100 crores for purchase of plant and machinery, right? Such things. Out of that, if 20% is second hand, still it is okay. That means whatever you brought from foreign country on which you did not claim any depreciation before that and you are using it for the first time after bringing to India, then you can get deduction. Other than that, still you can buy 20% of the assets from India which are second hand. No problem, you will get the benefit of 35 AD deduction. So what about the new assets? I am talking 100% assets should be new is a general rule. but there are exceptions. From foreign country we can bring some assets, and 20% second hand assets can be used. Okay, now please remember that if you want to get the deduction under 35 AD, audit of books of accounts by a chartered accountant is compulsory, right? Books of accounts who audits? Financial accounts who audit? Chartered accountant, right? So chartered accountant should do the audit. That's what the criteria is. Okay. Now let's discuss about deduction. How much deduction? Every business actually get deduction in the name of depreciation. So you incur capital expenditure, you get deduction in the name of depreciation. That is common for every business. But for claiming deduction, it takes so many years. Under 35 AD, the benefit is 100% deduction of capital expenditure in the first year itself. What I said, 100% deduction of capital expenditure in the first year itself. What I said, 100% deduction in the first year itself. Yes. Suppose example, you brought plant and machinery worth 50 crores. Now, if it is normal income tax provision, normal business, not specified business, then you will say 15% depreciation every year. Now, 50 crores, 15% every year, how many years it will take? And that too again WDV method. But here under 35 AD, 100% deduction in the first year itself. Okay, deduct 50 crores from the income. Now, but there are three assets on which no deduction is given. One is land and building. Second one is your goodwill. Third one is financial instrument. Land, financial instruments, goodwill. Land, financial instruments, goodwill. Only three. Not building. Okay, building you can get the deduction. Land, financial instruments and goodwill. On these three, no deduction at all. Now, suppose you actually purchased some plant and machinery and you made the payment in cash. If the payment exceeds rupees 10,000 per day, exceeds rupees 10,000 per day for single transaction, then that cash payment is disallowed. Same like the provisions which we discussed in the earlier classes. Okay, disallowed. So cash payment only less than 10,000 allowed, but if cash payment more than 10,000 at a time, not allowed. That on that part which you made the payment in cash, you will not get deduction under 35 AD. So how should we make payment? Through account pay check, demand draft or any electronic mode. Not at all cash. Okay. If it is crossed check, we will also consider it as cash. If it is bearer check, it is considered cash. So when I talk about check, it should be account pay check. ECS is okay, allowed, electronic clearance system. So clear? So what I said, deduction will be 100%, but no deduction on land, goodwill, financial instruments, and if payment in cash more than 10,000 at a time, no deduction on that part too. So for getting deduction, payment should be through account pay check, not crossed check, not bearer check. It should be account pay check only. And it can be demand draft, it can be ECS, it can be any electronic mode, banking channel simply to say. Now, suppose example, certain expenditures are incurred before commencement of business. So you want to incur certain expenditure, that too before commencement of business. So you incurred. Now you capitalize that expenditure in the year of commencement. So on capitalizing, you get the deduction. Suppose example, you are starting a 5-star hotel, it will take few years to construct it, right? So you incurred lot of expenditure before that only, starting the hotel, before commencement. So if you don't get deduction, then what is the purpose of this section? So you capitalize it in the year of commencement of business and you get the deduction. That's what they said. Now some other points are there which you have to remember. Many students ask me a question, sir, is 35 AD compulsory? So we have to claim deduction under this section only if it is specified business, or can we go for the regular provisions of income tax? The answer is your choice. If you want to claim deduction under 35 AD, claim it here. No sir, we want to claim regular depreciation, we don't want 35 AD, right? Because if you claim deduction under 35 AD, you cannot claim depreciation on it. Here if you are claiming deduction, then you cannot claim deduction under 32 depreciation, because no double deduction, right? Only single deduction for single expenditure. Okay, so it is your choice. So it is optional optional that you opt for 35 AD or not. Now it is optional, okay, but when you claim deduction under 35 AD, then again you cannot claim deduction under 80HH to 80 RRB. Presently in practical life, 80 IA to 80 RRB. You cannot claim deduction there. Because you claim deduction here, right? So why you will again claim double deduction there? No sir, that section is also satisfied. The conditions are satisfied in that section too. But if you are claiming it here, don't claim there. If you want to claim there, then don't claim here under 35 AD. Okay, no double deduction. Even under 10 AA you cannot claim deduction. If you are claiming here, don't claim it under 10 AA also. The funda is clear. Claim at one place, not everywhere where you satisfy the conditions. Okay, that's why this point is written. Now, if you actually claim a deduction here under 35 AD, now you should use that asset for only that specified business. You cannot say that I want to sell that specified business asset, or I want to use it for non-specified businesses also. No, you cannot do so. At least for 8 years. At least for how many years? 8 years you cannot do so. Up to 8 years, if you claim a deduction under 35 AD, from the date of commencement till next 8 years, you should use that asset only for specified business. After that you change the nature, no problem at all. You use the asset for other purpose, no problem. But within 8 years, if you sell it, then definitely on the sale capital gain will be there, and whatever deduction you claimed, that will be taxed under pgbp under section 41, deemed profit. And now if suppose you transferred it to non-specified, or you are using the asset for non-specified purpose, so you did not sell, you are using for your business only. In that case what will happen? Maybe there is no capital gain, but the deduction will be taxed under section 41. Sir, we are using now the asset for non-specified business. So what should we do? Okay, the deduction is reversed. So you have to consider it as income under section 41. That's okay. But sir, then can we claim depreciation on these assets? The answer is absolutely yes. Now you are using it for non-specified purpose, right? So just take the cost of the asset or capital expenditure minus depreciation for that many years which is used for specified business. Suppose you used the asset for 3 years for specified purpose. Deduct depreciation for that 3 years. Now whatever WDV comes, that is the value which you can add to the WDV of the block in the non-specified business category. Okay, on this numericals are also there to build confidence. Okay, right. Sir, we understood that this is optional. We understood that we can change. Double deduction also not allowed. Only single deduction. Sir, 8 years restrictions are there. If fail, then consequences also we understood that deduction will be reversed. Section 41 we have to consider it as income. Then we also discussed that asset will be included in the block and normal depreciation can be claimed. But for claiming depreciation, we should first take the cost. From that, depreciation for that many years should be deducted, which is used for specified business, and whatever WDV comes, that will be included in the block for non-specified business. We understood all these things. Now, suppose 100% deduction for specified business. First year, you started newly a hotel. In first years, you will get into profits. Or in first year, will you recover entire capital expenditure? Practically not possible, right? So what you do? Your profit will be less and 35 AD deduction will be more. So how shall we do? So what you do is profit, whatever it is, up to that amount you claim under 35 AD. And balance amount which you are not able to deduct in this year, you carry forward. That means you can claim the benefit of deduction in next years. Okay, sir, but how many years we will get this benefit? You can carry forward for unlimited number of years. Sir, in the next year when we actually deduct this unabsorbed deduction under this specified business, we have to deduct it from any income? No, only specified business income. Now, when I say it is specified business income, please remember one thing. Whether the specified business has been after the dates which I gave to you in the notes, or it may have been started before that. Like example, petroleum and crude oil is there. It started on 1st April 2007. So if suppose Reliance Petroleum started maybe many years back, maybe in 2000 or before that. So from that profit also you can deduct. So it is not that from newly started specified business income only you can deduct the expenditure, nothing like that. If it is specified business, after the date of applicability of this section, or that specified business has started before the applicability of this section, doesn't matter. Is the business specified? Yes. If yes, then you can claim the deduction. So we understood, right? So many things we tried to understand, that it is optional, double deduction we understood. We also understood 8 years restriction. We understood that there is something called as consequences which we have to understand. We understood that specified, non-specified businesses are there, right? How to adjust it, right? Unabsorbed part we understood. Hotel business, there is a special thing which you have to remember. And there is something about insurance also. Let me talk about insurance first. Now, when I talk about insurance, suppose the whole building which you set up for hotel is destroyed. But already you have done insurance on that building. So you will get insurance money, right? That insurance money is taxable under section 28. Okay. So when you spent the money on hotel, you got deduction. Now when you are getting the money back in the name of insurance, it should be taxed again under section 28. That's it. When you spend, you get deduction. When you get back the money, you should be taxed. Nothing wrong in it, right? Good. Now understand, for all the businesses, rule 1, that you should start the business, set up the whole thing and operate also. That means if you just set up the pipelines, petroleum is not enough. You should also operate that business. Then only you will get the deduction under 35 AD. For all businesses the same rule. But only one hotel business is there, where government specifically said that you can create the infrastructure for hotel and give the hotel to any others for management. No problem, you can get the deduction. So if you give management to any other person, still you will get the deduction. No doubt at all. Okay, only in case of hotel, person who sets up will get deduction, even if management is done by others. Okay. Now, sometimes what happens, in inter-firm within the same organization, specified businesses are there, non-specified businesses are there. Some assets are transferred, some transactions happen. So when transactions happen, that can be recorded in any way by the organization, it's their interest. But government says that transactions should be recorded at market value. For income tax purpose, market value only. Okay. Why? Because here you get 100% deduction outright. So some adjustments can be done to save the taxes. So it should not happen. That's why government said that if it is within the firm, between specified and non-specified, some transaction, that's okay, you can do, but it should be at market value for income tax purpose. Okay. So with this we completed section 35 AD. Hope you enjoyed the section. Now we will discuss section 35 DD, very near to putting an end to section 35. Now 35 DD talks about expenditure in relation to amalgamation or demerger. So it is amalgamation expenses, it is demerger related expenses. 35 DD, what section? Jaldi bolo mere saath. Section 35 DD, amalgamation demerger expenses. Very simple. It should be Indian company. So who can claim the benefit of deduction? It should be Indian company. For what the expenditure is incurred? Relating to amalgamation expenses, demerger related expenses. In how many installments you will get the deduction? Whatever expenditure incurred, 100% expenditure is allowed as deduction, but in 5 equal installments. How many? In 5 equal installments you will get the deduction. Any doubt? I feel no, but still if you have, can WhatsApp me, I would be happy to answer. Now, so simple. 35 DD, expenditure in relation to amalgamation or demerger. Who will get the deduction? Only Indian company. When they will get the deduction? If they incur such expenditure, and they should not claim the deduction under any other section, then only you can claim under 35 DD. Okay. In how many installments? In 5 installments you will get the deduction. Now there is something called as 35 DDA. It is expenditure in relation to voluntary retirement scheme. 35 DDA, expenditure in relation to voluntary retirement scheme. Now who will get the benefit? All assessees. Suppose you started a company, you gave VRS to your employees, you started partnership firm, you gave VRS to your employees, you started sole proprietorship, you gave VRS to your employees, you started HUF, you gave VRS to your employees. Arey yaar, you incurred expenditure, right? You may be any assessee, whether individual, HUF, company, but if you have given VRS to your employees, you will get the deduction under section 35 DDA. Good. Now, first thing, you should incur that expenditure on VRS, paying to the employees for voluntary retirement scheme. You are paying to the employees. Okay. You want to claim deduction under 35 DDA? Please, you cannot claim deduction under any other section. So you are getting deduction under this section 35 DDA. You cannot claim deduction under any other section. Clear? Here also deduction is given in 5 equal installments. Deduction is given in how many installments, Baba? Only 5 installments. Right? So expenditure divided by 5. Every year that amount you claim deduction. That's it. Okay. Now, suppose example, sir, if our firm amalgamates, then what to do? Arey, why you are worrying? If your firm amalgamates, then the new organization will get deduction, old will not get. That's it. Sir, in the year of amalgamation, also, the amalgamating company, an old company, will not get deduction, because amalgamated company, that is new company, will get the deduction. Sir, if it is succession of business, like sole proprietorship converted to company, then in that case sole proprietorship will not get deduction, but the company will get deduction. That's how you have to remember. Okay, I don't feel that you have any doubt. Now there is a section which talks about voluntary retirement scheme, and that is under exemptions chapter 1010C. That is under 1010C. So it actually gives exemption to the employees. Actually 1010C talks about exemption to employees. 35DDA talks about exemption to the organization. Difference you understand, right? If suppose Reliance is claiming deduction, Reliance will get the deduction under 35DDA and employee will get under exemption 1010C. Okay, difference is clear. Now for claiming deduction under 35DDA, you can be any organization. It can be sole proprietorship, partnership, HUF, company, artificial, any organization is okay. But for claiming deduction under 1010C, the employees of partnership firms, HUF or sole proprietorship will not get the deduction. So employees के साथ जाती कर रहे हैं इन लोग, right? Unfair to the employees, right? You are an employee, to get deduction, your boss should not be sole proprietor, your boss should not be HUF, your boss should not be a partnership firm for employees to get exemption under 1010C. But boss wants deduction, boss can be anybody to claim deduction under 35DDA. That's what they said. I feel very simple to you. 35DDA, no board approval is required for getting the deduction for the entrepreneur, for the boss. But for claiming deduction under 1010C, the VRS should be approved by the board, that is Central Board of Direct Taxes. Then only deduction can be claimed. For employees, no much restrictions, right? So many restrictions. For boss, not much. That's what the difference is. Now come to section 35E and the last section for this 35 series. It talks about expenditure on prospecting, extracting and production of mineral oils. अरे क्या बोला मैं, तीन चीज बोला. Prospecting, अरे first identify करना ना, where the mineral oils are. It is not like shakalaka boom boom stick to find where the minerals are. You cannot. Lot of engineering technology, researchers drill the land and find that their petroleum is there or not. Many a times even they fail also. So it is prospecting. Extracting, that's the most easiest thing, right? Once you find where it is, you can easily get, right? And last thing is production, finally processing it. Okay, so if you are into this business, you will get deduction under section 35E. Now to claim under this section, you should be either an Indian company or a resident assessee. That means partnership HUF is also okay to get the deduction under 35E, 35E, but they should be resident. So Indian company or resident can claim deduction. In which business you should be engaged? Prospecting, extracting or production of mineral oils or development of the mines you should be engaged in. Sir, when we should do that, when we should incur that expenditure for all this, right? If the organization spend money, then only income tax gives deduction, correct? ऐसी फुकट में deduction नहीं मिलता, खर्चा करो तब मिलेगा, right? So when they should spend the money? So within 1 year from the commencement of the business, within 1 year from the commencement of the business, or within 4 years immediately before the commencement of business. Suppose your business is starting in 2021-22, then 2021, 19-20, 18-19, 17-18, like that 4 years. And within 1 year means 21-22 you are starting, then 21-22 it would be. That 1 year from commencement. Same way, if you are starting business in 2021, 22-23, if you are starting business in 22-23, then 4 years back and 1 year of commencement. Whatever expenditure is incurred during this 4 plus 1 years, 4 years before, first in the first year of commencement, all that 5 years, you can get deduction. But sir, when? In 10 equal installments or a 10 equal installment, like this you should remember. In 10 equal installment, you will get deduction. But sir, can we get the deduction for the purchase of that site? Sorry boss, for purchase of site you are not going to get deduction. You're not gonna get the deduction. Like this you should remember. For purchase of site, no deduction. Yes. For purchasing deposits also, no deduction. Okay. Suppose expenditure is paid by some other person. Many a times government pays. Government will pay money and you get deduction under income tax. Not possible. So if other person is going to make payment, you are not gonna get the deduction. If you want to get deduction, you pay the money. Okay? Right. Capital expenditure for purchase of land, building, plant and machinery, you are not gonna get deduction. Are a claim depreciation under section 32. Here you will not get deduction. Okay, for land anyhow nowhere. So what we remember? If it is for acquisition of site, deposits or for assets on which depreciation can be claimed, whether it is land or if payment is done by others, then no deduction. All other expenditures for prospecting, extracting or production of mineral oils, you can claim deduction under section 35E, and that too the expenditure should be incurred in 4 years before and 1 year during commencement. If that expenditure is incurred, claim deduction in 10 installments. Sir, but first year income we wrote minus 35 AD, sorry 35E. But sir, income is not sufficient. We deducted all expenditures, but for 35E deduction, income is not sufficient. Don't worry. If your income is 100 rupees, 35E is 150 rupees, then what will you do? Income 100 rupees minus 35E 100 rupees, your income becomes 0. No need to pay tax. Sir, what about 50 rupees? 150 you said, not 35E. Okay, that is unabsorbed expenditure. And that you can claim in the next year or in the further next year. What's there in it? But maximum till 10th year of commencement of business. Maximum till 10th year of commencement of business. Sir, suppose amalgamation happens, then new company will get deduction. Sir, succession happens, new organization will get deduction. Sir, old organization, in the year of succession or amalgamation, old will not get, new will get. This is what you should remember. As simple as that. Hope you understood what I tried to explain to you. We'll meet in the next lectures. Till then, take care. Bye everybody.